And people would tell you when you get to a country, oh, you know what, welcome, this is where your career comes to die because you're not permitted to work. I did not like the idea of saying that I'm a stay-at-home mom or I am a tag-along wife or something like that, because I'm not just staying at home. I am at home doing work, important work, even if that work is, you know, washing and ironing clothes and cooking, and it's very important work. To Zambia, that was a different ballgame altogether. Now Zambia is Anglophone. We've left the Francophone countries, and nobody needs my French translation. Oh. And so, and if we are observing, we will realize that the earth speaks. A lot of things speak to you. A lot of, you know, you will get ideas from anywhere.
Hi and welcome to The Peculiar People, where we create content that helps you to optimize your decisions so that you can enjoy your career, your relationships, and your leadership. So we are in part 3 of Colleta's story. She's sharing with us her adventure in her career and how she discovered her purpose. So if you missed part 1 and part 2, I invite you to go back and check them out. There'll be a pop-out banner that appears to direct you to those videos, or in the description below, there'll also be a link for you to visit. If you're with us in part 3, let's dive to it.
The way you introduce yourself, I talk about articulating your value proposition. And sometimes, yes, it can sound like you're blowing your own trumpet. The thing is, if you have a trumpet to blow, and you don't blow it, are you really doing justice to that trumpet?
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah? And so you're not like bragging, but you are being honest with your capabilities, and you are also showing how it's going to be a blessing to the other person, how it's going to be a solution to their problem. So I think it's important to just have that confidence, and I did not like the idea of saying that I'm a stay-at-home mom or I am a tag-along wife or something like that, because I'm not just staying at home. I am at home doing work, important work, even if that work is, you know, washing and ironing clothes and cooking, and it's very important work. So I'm not just staying at home, right? And so I think, and of course you've heard of the elevator pitch, isn't it? All right. So the elevator pitch, you don't have to wait until you get into an elevator to give it. Of course, that's not what it means. But I mean, every opportunity you get, why not share? And you ask me a question, what do you do? So I'll tell you what I do, right? So I think it's just important for us to have just that confidence and that awareness that these opportunities do not come in the way we expect them sometimes, but they are all over. We can find them all over, because networking won't just happen, you know, when you go to that cocktail or you go to that meeting branded as a networking meeting, okay? It can happen even in your house. It can happen at your children's birthday party, because you're going to meet so many people. So how do you introduce yourself? What kind of conversations are you having? And the interesting thing is that, and this we'll talk about when we get to Ethiopia, another opportunity that came to me that, you know, brought a lot of long-term work. It also came to me at a birthday party. Yeah, you know, and we were pretty new in the place. I'm jumping the gun now, but you know, just because of the context that we are in. And we've been invited to this party, and you're meeting a lot of people. Say, hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you know, what's your name? And what do you do? So this is what I do. What? Okay, you write? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, let's go back.
I think let's just highlight that, because it's very important, because people who have gaps in their CVs and they struggle, you know, they are afraid to, what am I gonna say, you know, when I'm asked about this gap. But I think we can learn from that experience, your experience, you know, that you don't have to be in an elevator. And then also what you're talking about, I mean, you're not just sitting at home, you know, the things that you're doing, you can convert that into value that would be, you know, that will fill a gap for someone else. Yeah, so I think that's also important for people who are trying to fill in those gaps, or they're feeling like I'm just a stay-at-home mom, and you know. Yeah, thank you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Those opportunities are there. And if I could just, you know, in the same spirit, share that, you know, the Bible says in Psalm 19, I think, yeah, it's Psalm 19, the earth is filled with the glory of God. The heavens declare the works of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they display splendor. All right? So here is the thing. And it also says there is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. So if we are listening, and if we are observing, we will realize that the earth speaks. A lot of things speak to you. A lot of, you know, you will get ideas from anywhere. So I think it's just for us to get out of autopilot and sort of just be observant and be willing to ask, what am I hearing? What am I observing? What am I seeing? Where are the needs? Okay, and how can I meet those needs? Yeah, so always just being alert to those opportunities. Yeah, so that's Burundi, a good chunk of time with this NGO and doing translations here and there, and also writing. That's when I wrote my first little book, Until the Fat Lady Sings, and I published it. So it was just a nice time of exploration, experimentation, and getting more and more skill in terms of the work that I was doing. And so it was great. And then moving on now to Zambia, that was a different ballgame altogether. Now Zambia is Anglophone. We've left the Francophone countries. And nobody needs my French translation.
Oh.
And so, so even though, you know, I joined Alliance Française and I did I continued because I had the interest in the language, and I love it. And I enjoyed watching movies with French subtitles and just learning like that and reading simple books in French. So when we went to Zambia, I joined Alliance very quickly. I mean, there are some specific things I was always on the lookout for in the different places we went to. You know, where is Alliance Française? Where is the church? Where is the squash court in this place? You know, there are some very particular things that I made an effort to look out for. And so those were some of the little pleasures that I found that made these moves interesting and something to look forward to as well. And of course, the different communities who did all those things that were interesting. So Zambia was a haven when it came to my ACCA studies. Remember, I'm still a student. I haven't finished my studies. So by this time, I think I have about 3 papers to go, the final professional level papers. And I learned that they have this college that, you know, I think it was famed for being one of the best in Africa. I enrolled full time to just go and finish those papers. So I found that to be a wonderful opportunity for me. So I did not really spend a lot of time looking for work or trying to get into the workspace, because by this time I had my writing and I was doing it on a more regular basis, and I had my studies that I just wanted to focus on and get them over and done with now that I was in a place that had a very good college and good opportunity to study. And then I also registered to be a substitute teacher at my son's school. So I got opportunity every now and then to just go in when a teacher was absent and just be with the kids and do little things here and there. It wasn't like actual teaching, but more supporting them, reading and stuff like that.
So let me just ask, what drove you to apply to be a substitute teacher?
Just the interest. I wanted to be involved in my kids' school. And I also, and since, you know, when you go to meet, when you go to a new place, of course, you know, the new school, they will have an an evening for new parents and new students to come and get to know about the school and meet the community and stuff like that. So when that came up as one of the things that the school is always on the lookout for, you know, if you're interested, we have opportunity for substitute teachers. And especially what the, I think it was the elementary principal said to me at the time was that, and especially because you have, you know, experience in business studies and stuff like that, that would be, you know, something good to bring to our students. I never really got to use that at the school, but, you know, and I thought if it can be helpful, then why not? So it was a great opportunity for me. So yes, I did a bit of that and quite a bit of writing. In fact, I got opportunity where when we were still very new, I think we were still living in a hotel before we found a house at the time, to write for a magazine. It was called Beauty Zambia. I don't know whether it's still in print or not. So that's because of the writing course I was taking. I was always on the lookout for, you know, magazines and newspapers, who is accepting articles. So I just rushed to the editor and said, you know, I'm doing XYZ, you know, would you be interested? And I sent a sample and they said, yeah, we're gonna call that column Words of Wisdom. So I had a column in that magazine. Yeah, so I'm still honing my writing skills. I'm doing my ACCA studies, a bit of substitute teaching here and there, and of course involved in the church and in Bible studies. So that was, and we're in Zambia for only 2 years. So that was all it took for me to finish my ACCA studies. Okay, yeah. And, you know, and do, of course, when I finished, I thought, okay, maybe I could start applying for jobs. But then it wasn't as, I didn't feel like it was such a serious need. And because I knew that our time there was going to be very short, so I didn't like put too much effort in it. Then it was time to move to Ethiopia. So Ethiopia was another very interesting place, and with plenty of opportunities again. And I realized actually, you know, all this time, it had never occurred to me that you can be barred from working in a country, not barred, but you know, like when you go in an accompanying capacity or a supporting capacity, you're not permitted to work in that country. And I realized that a lot of people, you know, were facing that challenge. But in Ethiopia, and people would tell you when you get to a country, oh, you know what, welcome, this is where your career comes to die because you're not permitted to work. And so people will share these stories. And then I said, so in Burundi, I'd actually gone to, you know, to the immigration and inquired, and they said, if you have a visa, a business visa, you can work. You know, you're Kenyan, and so nobody says you can't work. So it was very easy for me. Now in Ethiopia, I got the help of someone who worked with my husband. So I asked her, so where can I go to find this information? And she directed me. So I went. I think it was the labor office or immigration or some place. So I went with my passport and I inquired. I said, I'm Kenyan and I'm here as an accompanying spouse. Can I work? And the guy looked at my passport and I said, of course you can. There's no way it says you can't, as long as you have a work permit. So I knew that I could work in Ethiopia. So now this is where I was telling you that we had been invited to a birthday party, and just in the process of introducing and saying what I do, it turns out that the person that I was talking to was actually looking for someone to write a report for them. And so they gave me that opportunity. And so once that came, the opportunities kept coming. But then at this time, remember, I finished my ACCA studies. And I am now eager to move from just being an affiliate to becoming an ACCA member. Okay? Because at the back of my mind, I still think I'm going to pursue this career and I'm going to get back, or the opportunity will open itself and I'll get back. And so in Ethiopia, I strategized and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go online and look for the top 10 audit firms or accounting firms in this country. And then I will approach them and tell them to give me an opportunity to work there. So I went online and I found the firms. And so it turns out that the firm that I had found first, and I was looking at their website and sort of looking at what they do, and my husband found me looking at that. He said, oh, I know these guys. In fact, somebody from that organization was at our office today. They brought us some brochures and stuff like that. So he shared the brochures with me. So I got even more information. And I said, so these are the guys I'm gonna call. So the following day, I get the phone number from the brochure, and I call, I introduce myself, and I say I would like to speak to one of the partners. And they say, okay, come. Do you know where Mina building is? I said, I don't, but I'll find out. And so, so I inquired where the building was, and I was told, and so I appeared the following day. And I met one of the partners of that firm. So, you know, as we are chatting, this guy is giving me a strange look. And so he asked me, yeah, tell me about yourself and what is it that you want, da, 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 da. So I introduced myself, and I told him, I've just completed my ACCA studies, I'm an affiliate, and I want to work in this firm so that I can finish gathering because once you become an affiliate, you're required to demonstrate 3 years of experience that is documented, all right? And you have to have a mentor who kind of guides you through that. And that is something I had neglected. I had not been doing all these other years, where I was working and stuff. So I thought, this is an opportunity. I want to be in such a firm so that I can now finish this part and just get the ACCA membership thing in my bag. And so the guy said, okay, what is strange is we've never had someone, you just pick up the phone and call us and come. So even though we don't have an opportunity, I think we would like to keep you. Wow. We would like you to stay. We'll just find something for you. Yeah. And so he introduced me to the other two partners, and we chatted, and they said, okay, give us some time. Let's think through it and see how you can help us. So I left them with my CV, and then they called me about 3 days later. They said, you know what, would you be interested in doing this and this and that? And I said, sure, I would, because of course they saw, that I had strengths in writing. I'd been writing proposals, and I'd been, translating. They weren't so much interested in the translation, even though they said, we have some clients, in like Djibouti and stuff like that, so we probably might need your help in French, but it's not a major thing right now. Where we have a big problem is here, and this is where we want you to support us. So I discovered that in that country, the writing, like the business language and stuff like that, is where they really, that's where the opportunities lay, and of course editing. So those are the opportunities that came very easy. And then I said to them, yes, I want this, but this will not really contribute very much to my goal of gathering those 3 years experience, because there are certain things that I'm on the lookout for. So I would like some experience, perhaps in audit. And I said, we'll see, where we can find room for you. The beauty is that when you're here, you can also look out and see how you can support us. And I said, okay, great, let's go for it. And the long and short is that I was there for only 3 months. I wrote proposals and wrote proposals. And it became a little bit, like mundane. And I thought, okay, that's enough. And I'm not really achieving my purpose. But then again, opportunities were coming from other sides for me to step in and write procedures and policies manuals and really just help in that area. So I stepped in and took those opportunities on as a consultant. And then, the editing, the writing that I did with that organization now gave birth to editing opportunities. So I worked on that, and then within a short time, I saw an advertisement for a job at the ACCA office. And I thought, this is perfect, because they wanted an education and learning officer. And I applied for it, and I got it. And so, to date, I really I think that was one of my best one of my best jobs. Yeah, I stepped into it, and it was, you know, totally different from stuff that I had done before, and it was just interesting having all these you know, trainees, and for me just being able to support them and help them step out from being affiliates to being ACCA professionals, and that was the same journey that I was on. So I embraced it from a point of, you know, I could empathize, and I could also understand what they were going through, and where the pitfalls were and what they could do. So I sort of just dove into it, and I really loved it. So I worked there.
Sorry, look, just a pause there. Was this opportunity at ACCA, was it going to give you the what you needed to now get into membership?
Yes, it was. There's, you know, so that experience, there's a long list of things, all right, that you need to satisfy rather, and with a mentor. And so my boss then was a mentor for me, and he was able to, you know, work with me in some of those requirements. And then I was able to get back in touch with some of the people that I had worked with before I left my work in accounting, and bring in some of that experience, and you know, and they were very happy to just to sign off on that experience and to vouch for me on that experience. So, you know, a combination of all these people and all this work, it came in very handy, and it helped me to meet my objective. And I actually became a member in 2013, I think. Yeah, 2013. So that worked well for me, and so the work there was fantastic. And at this time, I'm doing my MBA, because I had enrolled, I think, as soon as we got into Ethiopia. You know, I don't know, somehow I just wanted to keep using these opportunities, because I said, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna get work or not, but even if I don't, I cannot waste this time. It's an opportunity for me to continue gaining more knowledge. And so I enrolled for an MBA. And what surprised me is, as I was doing my research, you know, in different universities, and so initially I went into it thinking I'm gonna do an MBA in finance. But then the more I searched, and I started thinking, what about things to do with HR, you know, where you can work with people? I came across this one program that had coaching and mentoring for leadership and management. And I thought, wait, that sounds really interesting. So as I dug deeper into it, I realized that that's the kind of thing I was looking for. And so that's what I picked, and that was my my project for my MBA. And so I worked towards my MBA, and as I'm learning more about coaching and mentoring, and I'm now in this space where I am impacting a lot of people, I started to think, you know what? Maybe this is where my great calling is, working to support people and to bring out the best in them. And so I started to get comfortable with that idea, and I made a decision. I was going to be a coach. And so in the process of doing that, that project of mine, I chose to do a coaching intervention for accompanying spouses. All right. So with regard to careers and finding themselves in that role in these different places that you go to. And it was very eye-opening for me. I realized that this was actually quite a phenomenon. It was, I had just experienced it through our different moves. But I didn't know that it was a global thing. I didn't know that it was quite a phenomenon. And so it was good just researching into it and understanding the kind of challenges that accompanying spouses were facing all over, whether they were male or female, and the challenges that came with leaving your career and trying to reestablish yourself as a professional in a different land. And so I thought about bringing in coaching as an intervention that would just help in bringing self-awareness and stuff. And so at that time, in the process of doing my research, I came across a very interesting book